Hey everyone, welcome to Fake Work with Justine's two-part season 2 finale titled The Problem with PlayKE Music. This season has taken me 2 years to write because my research team really has to balance everything. It's just me, you guys. I don't know if I'll be able to capture every note, but I'll try harder than a DJ trying not to play Nimeuona Mkono wa Bwana at the end of his 3 a.m. set. The first problem with PlayKE Music is that we don't talk about how good it is enough. This episode focuses on playing KE music. If Issa's Boomba Train is not playing in your head instantly, I hope you feel some level of shame. The first problem we have is that we don't talk about how good it is, how experimental, and how rich its history is. I'm a big music fan. My Instagram highlights are just grainy footage of me at concerts, losing my voice to a song I only know the chorus to. I love music so much, I took some lessons in high school and was even in an awesome rap group that lasted only one term. I'm also pleased to inform you that our single Superstar went platinum in that assembly hall. This episode will sound very much like us kissing, and it's because it is. I'm mostly doing this so I can get invited to as many concerts for free and liberally enjoy the VIP section far away from the push and pull of the most likely to be robbed crowd that I have consistently been a part of. Kenyans are a very gifted population. We are so talented we have music ranging from the most angelic sound you've ever heard to the strongest pool of worst auditions of Tusker Project fame.
Show me the way I can go
and take you to an higher ground.
Shout out to Judge Ian Bugwa for being the first televised hater I ever saw. One of the biggest things going for the Kenyan music scene is how extremely diverse it is in its sound, and new artists are not afraid to explore that. If we were a bird, we would be a Brazilian macaw. We're just as tropically awesome as parrots, even though we may not have a bigger voice in the global conversation. Kenyan artists have ventured into so many traditional genres like rumba, benga, R&B, jazz, and hip-hop. They've also created so many ear-defining genres such as genge, kapuka, neo soul, system ya kapungala, gengetone, shrap, debe, odipop, new R&B, which is just R&B with a strong touch of Gen Z, and all the genres that Major sings. Itabidi umekubali. Kenyan music is important, starting with the Pokomo lullaby that had bigger dreams for itself, so much so that it went on to become Kenya's national anthem. This key piece of music that's literally a national identifier sent a shock-redeemed discourse online when there were rumors flying around that it had been copyrighted by a British firm. Talk about a double colonial scare. Big panic day for Amani and Uhuru. A lot of Kenyan artists are multi-hyphenates and mavericks. They go to school for one thing and then take chances with their parents' approval to pursue music. The most famous of this bunch is obviously the most adorable couple in Kenyan music, Wahoo and Nameless. Wahoo is a mathematician and MTV Mama winner, and Nameless is an architect who chose to pursue music instead, but is now mostly known for his dreadlocked ponytail and being the second person keeping the Durag business alive right behind Red Sun. Most Kenyan artists can write, rap, and sing all their music. Some of them even produce their own music. Their talents are end-to-end encrypted and thriving like a WhatsApp COVID vaccine conspiracy message. I had to dig a little deep to get Kenyan music post-independence, and by digging deep I mean I just found someone on Twitter who definitely wrote threads about it and I DM'd them. According to Kiprop Kiplagat, who works in music and entertainment, Kenyan music was definitely popular before the 2000s. Most people had just fought for independence or collaborated. No shame in your game. Maybe some shame if you're a collaborator. And obviously they needed entertainment, so many at the time enjoyed a spectacular fusion of Western and traditional sounds known as benga. Giant names such as Fadhili Williams and the Malaika Boys, Daudi Kabaka, Freshly Mwamburi, Gabriel Omolo, who was famous for his hit Sasa Ni Lunchtime, an ode to the Luhya nation and a soundtrack nightmare for every teacher trying to get a point across at 12:59 p.m., created bangers for radio havers and their visitors. Sasa ni lunchtime, tufunge makazi, twende kwa chakula, tuje tena sana ne. Kenyan music being diverse started a long time ago. We had a rock band called Black Savage, which was a wild name to have in the 70s, given all the radical departure from white capture. In the 80s and 90s, the Kenyan music scene picked up momentum like our former meme guy in a probox in other genres such as hotel pop, which was mostly sonic gentrification for tourists. Artists like the Mushrooms and Safari Sound Band perfected this and went on to tour the Nairobi hotel circuit and beyond. The beautiful sounds of regional pop, which was music that accelerated specifically for different ethnicities but went hard all the same, was making its way through different parts of the country. The Luo community fused Benga sounds and traditional Luo music to give us Ohangla. Kamba pop, which was closely related to Benga but included a second guitar that counterpointed the primary guitar, was also making the rounds. You know this sound? It's like the color yellow come to life. Most regional pop artists are impeccable live performers, so this really worked in their favor to spread their work throughout the country. In the mid-90s, Kalamashaka took the podium with hip-hop tunes reminiscent of old-school hip-hop merged with Kenyan experiences in social justice messaging. You can draw a proper look and wave between their sound and that of Mau Mau, Uko Flani, and Juliani's music. Kenya's music has evolved over the years, but the class of the 2000s really worked to shift the landscape. The earliest wave of genre-breaking artists was Kalamashaka, Wikimosh, Poxy Pressure, Mighty King Kong, and Hardstone, etc. I'm sorry I had to etc. the other guys. That's what Mr. Kiplagat sent me. These artists breaking into the airwaves set a tone for the rise of the 2000s. Ogopa DJs entered the scene with the Red Baldman Screaming logo and shook up studio corners and mics. Parents were stressed out about the rise of hipsters and basketball jerseys the size of tents, while radio stations had to ensure presenters were not taking time on air to whine waists and destroy office culture. What a time to be a young adult. Ogopa was founded by two brothers, Francis and Lucas Bikedo. Their musical genius created the Boomba Kapuka sound, and the artists that emerged from their backing are nothing less than the goats of that era. They were responsible for the loves of our Kenyan music life. Artists like Isa, K-Rapt, Necessary Noise, Prezo, Kleptomaniacs, Do Vultures, Abbas, Chihuahua, Wahoo, Nameless, Amani, Big Pin, Longombas, Mr. Lenny, Tattoo, Baby Cool, Avril, Chameleon, Red Sun. This is an insane resume of artists to have on your catalog. They're literally the whole playlist when Kenyans hit that reminisce button, and all these artists released bangers louder than Atwoli on Jeff Koinange's bench. During this period, regional pop also continued to grow and move to the mainstream with artists like phenomenal Susanna Owiyo composing Kisumu 100 in honor of Kisumu's centennial celebrations. Susanna Owiyo was also in a supergroup with three other sensational songbirds, that's Masi Myra, Achieng Abura, and Princess Julie. Soon after came Caliph Records' Beat Clement, which pushed the bounds of creating a club banger that used perfect storytelling. The emergence of Juakali, Jimwat, Nonini, Caesars, Lady S, and Pili Pili, and every other artist whose name sounded like a house item and occupations, led to the growth of a Kenyan sound known as Genge. I went as far as failing Kiswahili because my teachers never took the time to teach me ngeli ya Genge. These artists had Chago Latinese attendees and Insider magazine consumers losing their teenage minds. That era was carried by Fanta ads, halter tops, and shades darker than our current president's history. Most artists looked like they were auditioning for an Hollywood classic. One artist named Meg C was so controversial for releasing a music video, wearing a miniskirt and a halter top combo. I'm sure if Ezekiel Mutua had been in office, he would have lost his mustache fasting 40 days and nights for her redemption while attacking Gikomba Tumbo Cat merchants. Nothing was stronger than a thirst trap pullout of an artist and a songbook full of lyrics to these magical sounds of the time. Sadly, my songbook was stolen, and to the person who did that, may your Spotify algorithm always fail you. Caliph Records and Ogopa DJs began beefing in the mid-2000s. Classic way to get fans to pick sides, but most of us were busy both sidesing. Mostly because we didn't really have a choice and because our DSP at the time was The Beat, and they were playing only bangers. Blame DJ Pinye. You all know the saying, when two bulls fight, a third producer emerges and takes care of business. This was a great entry window for Musyoka, who at the time was working for Homeboys Entertainment. You all know the famous A Homeboys Production. He produced music for Prezo, TID, Mr. Lenny, Nameless, AY, Waire, Nikki, and Nonini. He left, then came back and opened Decimal Records and signed P-Unit, which to me is such an original name, but P-Unit would be a great name for shared bathrooms. P-Unit, who started out as backup dancers for Nonini, went on to win an MTV Mama, meaning a good producer and knowledge on lean-back choreography can get you very far. The mid-2000s also saw the rise of rappers such as Bamzigi and the late Kantai. However, many acts came and went or stagnated due to the nature of the industry. Singing competitions also came about, like Coca-Cola Pop Stars that gifted us Sanaipei and Pam. Tusker Project Fame gave us timeless memes, and musical stars such as Patricia Kihoro, Wendy Kimani, and Dibal. You may know these names for completely different reasons on social media, but their origins are the workings of the Kenyan music industry, which is a breaker of hearts and dreams. Although secular artists were creating, beefing, and shifting the consumption of Kenyan music, gospel artists took a page from their Revolution book and set it on musical fire. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, Kenyan gospel musicians moved from being choir frontrunners to pop music status. They used fusions of reggae, dancehall, hip-hop, kapuka, rumba, and genge to become chart toppers and trendsetters. They really took the Supra, colored checkered shirts, Shambhala, and Arafat fashion and ran it to the altar and to the ground. Traditional churches were scared, shook, panicking, but the game is the game. The rise of artists such as Giuliani, Daddy Owen, Rafton, Danko, Esther Wahome, Amy Kosgei, Alan Aaron, Willie Paul, Bahati, Eunice Njeri, Gloria Muliro, Masi Masika, and even Saizet's second act was a beautiful time for Kenyan Christians embracing modernity and churches willing to capitalize on clean fun for the youth. These artists even pushed for inclusion of smaller groups in the margins that hadn't seen representation since Mighty King Kong by putting them at the center of conversations and able to earn from their work. The age of the internet. Sorry Gen Z, but this is an essential stop for millennial inclusion. The age of the internet came with a different sense of success for Kenyan artists. Just a Band, one of Kenya's biggest alt bands, went viral on YouTube for their hit Ha Hey. I remember watching the story of them going viral on the internet on CNN because the only way for me to use the internet was to teleport myself to a cyber cafe. YouTube wasn't even an app. You had to type the whole name in the search bar like a caveman. It was a CPU jungle out there. Another phenomenal act is STL, who broke into the Kenyan airwaves with her hit Taking It Back and went on to achieve international success. Her stellar hip-hop and contemporary house/Europop sound saw her win the Melody Grand Prix in 2011 and even had a chance to represent Norway with her song Haba Haba in the Eurovision contest, but didn't qualify for the final. Her work is so sensational, it's been used in hit American movies and shows such as CSI New York, Scrubs, Save the Last Dance 2, American Pie Presents The Naked Mile. Soon after came Camp Mula, and these rich kids had Kenyans in a chokehold. Their hits traversed the continent and the diaspora, and they were nominated for BET Awards, BEFTA, Britain's MOBO Awards, Cora Awards, Channel O Music Video Awards, Nigeria's Headies, MTV Europe Music Awards, and so many more. They ended up only winning Chaguo Latini's awards because we were the only ones that understood what they meant to us. To date, I keep it fresh all day. This is for you, Sharpman, Karun, Tayo, and Mikey. Currently, the Kenyan music act pushing the global bag is Sauti Sol. Their soulful works have been bubbling under over the years, and their magic spilled over the continent and the rest of the world. They have won several awards, made some of the biggest songs this country has ever seen, and enjoyed success far and beyond most Kenyan disses online. Bien has gone on to become the first Kenyan artist to officially enter the UK charts. There are a lot more new age artists who are making sure Kenyan music and genres don't fall through the cracks of forgettability. Grammy Award winner Bensoul, Nviri, Otile Brown, Chris Kaiga, Ethic, Sailors, Steph Capella, Calligraph, Respect the OG Jones, Maya Molo, Lisa Odor, Noah, Wakadinali, Matata, Brooklyn Boys, The Only Rosa, Nviri. Did I say Nviri twice? Sorry. Brandy Maina, Steph Capella. I'm just repeating names. There's a lot of pressure for Kenyan music to break out internationally, but we must first start by giving them space to thrive in their own backyard. As a wise person once said, you never know what you got till it's being claimed by other people internationally. In order to keep this industry alive and thriving, there are several entities doing the shadow work it takes to help artists be seen, heard, and given room to grow. Most artists themselves and different entertainment investors are creating festivals and live shows for artists to get stage time and connect with fans. Live performances are the lifeline to a lot of performers. You really get to know which of your songs is a hit and also how much you need to work to sound better live. Blankets and Wine by the legend herself, Muthoni the drama queen, changed the face of Kenyan music festivals forever. I used to feel big FOMO as my pauper pockets failed to score me a B&W ticket. I'm about to become a seasoned attendee. Several festivals have emerged since that have a similar vibe and momentum, such as Koroga Festival, Oktoberfest, Shin City, Folk Fusion, Safaricom International Jazz Festival, and Soulfest. Regional pop artists are still live performance sensations in smaller curated festivals such as Mugithi Night for all the cowboys in central Kenya and Luo Night for critically acclaimed larger-than-life enjoyers. Culture and live bands in smaller venues keep artists paid, and cover singers help push popular releases to the masses. Playlist curators, shout out to Kofen and Suki, who help many consumers on various DSPs such as Spotify to learn about new artists and create spaces for artists who would otherwise not be easily accessed. The algorithm will not always succeed at going out of its way to find you an artist on the fringes, but playlist curators help bridge this gap. They are like the Gandalf for Kenyan artists and consumers. Online platforms such as Radio 254 have dedicated their space to exclusively playing Kenyan music and showcasing Kenyan talent. Shout out to Njokia, Sonia Pinto, and every presenter and curator who works in collaboration with them for making sure Kenyan artists have a home. I hope these spaces can be kept alive and with the resources they need. Various radio shows used to dedicate their airplay to Kenyan artists creating alternative music genres. Big shout out to Patricia Kihoro, the famed antagonist in Sauti Sol's Coming Home, for her show Afro Central, which used to air on Homeboys Radio. Corinne Onyango, formerly of Homeboys Radio 2, used her show The Jump Off to give Kenyan hip-hop artists a space to share their music. Currently holding that mantle is Uncut Africa, an incredible platform giving KE hip-hop artists a space to cipher, share their music journeys, perform, and receive recognition for their work. Uncut was founded by Ruby V, who's a true lover of hip-hop music and culture, and through this curation, she's made new hip-hop acts feel welcome, and she's making sure that the OGs in the industry get their flowers.
Nika bow down to the best rapper. Nika bow down to the best rapper. Meet your best rapper, so meet your best rapper.
PR agencies, record labels, and publishing houses are also raising the bar for new artists by giving them structure on how to release and market their music. It's very hard considering a lot of Kenyans don't have the purchasing power yet, but will still find ways to show up like a grandma who raised you. DSPs such as Boomplay, Spotify, and Audiomack are crafting ways to reach the masses and push new Kenyan artists by dedicating playlists to them. These are giant hops, steps, and ego jumps in the right direction to earning very little digitally, but having a space where your artist's name grows. A-Star, a Kenyan rapper and cultural documentary filmmaker, created Cleaning the Airwaves, a show that follows artists' journeys and shares them with the world. Finding out Prezzo's first sponsorship deal was with White Rose Dry Cleaners was one of my favorite wash memories that doesn't involve a politician. CTA is a key platform for artists, producers, and sound engineers, and even singing competition panelists to share how they helped shape the Kenyan music scene. Lastly, a big shout out to the Kenyan political scene for their hand in gifting the Kenyan music scene with the legendary NASA song that went platinum in all villages. Political differences aside, Kenyan artists creating anthems for politicians gives them the opportunity to earn money, even if it's just them rounding up on misappropriated taxes. Thank you guys for watching this first episode. Stay tuned for part 2.
Wakenya twasema Uhuru Ruto tano tena, ndani to the State House,